On the day the divine realm went to war with the abyss, I was the one who nailed the Lord of the Abyss to the heart of the seal. But the instant the seal was completed, Lucien drove the Godslayer blade into my heart from behind. I'm sorry. Only if you die can I have what I want. My godship shattered, and my body fell. He erased every trace of me from the battlefield. 300 years later, she married him. On the day of their wedding, 10,000 bells rang throughout the divine realm as the gods celebrated. A rift to the abyss tore open the heavens once more. As black mist churnled, the Lord of the Abyss, asleep for 1,000 years, slowly opened his eyes.
Why is it you? Send Cassius out. I'll only deal with him.
It was Lucien who sealed you 1,000 years ago. Cassian was nothing but a traitor who deserted the battlefield at the critical moment.
Has this demon gone senile from being sealed? He's actually bringing up that traitor's name.
It's been 1,000 years, and we still have to hear that man's name? Disgusting. The surrounding gods immediately echoed her words.
If Lord Lucien hadn't cleaned up his mess despite his grievous injuries back then, the divine realm would have fallen long ago.
Bound to the kneeling statue in the distance, I listened to it all and found the irony almost laughable. At the center of the crowd, Lucien stood in white robes, surrounded by the gods like the brightest star among them. Only I could see. The instant the Lord of the Abyss spoke my name, a flash of guilt and fear crossed his eyes. But in the very next second, he lifted his chin and spoke with feigned composure.
Mordress, I sealed you once 1,000 years ago. I can do it again today.
The Lord of the Abyss looked as though he'd just heard the funniest joke in the world.
You.
He let out a scornful laugh. Without sparing Lucien another glance, he raised his head toward the void around him. His voice shook the 9 layers of heaven.
Cassian, if you still refuse to come out, then the moment I break this seal, not a single person here will survive!
The seal grew weaker and weaker as he struggled against it. And at that moment, the gods finally saw the core of the seal. Piercing the Lord of the Abyss' chest was a brilliant golden stike. It was my soul weapon, the World Thorn. Centered on the World Thorn, layer upon layer of sacred magic circles spread outward, pinning his abysmal power firmly in place, and the sealing array flowing through those circles. It was the long-lost ancient forbidden art, the primal seal. In the entire divine realm, I was the only one who knew it. In an instant, suppressed murmurs broke out all around.
How is that possible? I thought Lord Lucien sealed the Lord of the Abyss.
Then why is the core of Cassian's seal weapon? Why is even the sealing art his?
Even Elena froze. Her eyes locked onto the World Thorn, her expression growing darker bit by bit. It had been the token of love she gave me. She was born of the ancient thorn dragon bloodline. The most precious heart-guarding thorn from her back had been forged by her own hands into that spike. When she placed it in my palm, she had whispered,
Cassian, this is the sharpest and the softest thing I possess. Giving it to you is the same as giving you my life and my heart. From now on, wherever you go, it'll protect you in my place.
But now, she was silent for only a brief moment. Then, before everyone, she spoke in a voice as cold as ice.
300 years ago, Cassian used this weapon to ambush Lucien. This weapon fell into the enemy's hands long ago. The fact that it's inside the seal only proves that the Lord of the Abyss and that traitor planned this deception together from the very beginning. Their goal was to drive a wedge into the divine realm.
With a single sentence, she crushed every doubt. From within the stone statue, I looked at her. Suddenly, it felt as though someone had driven a blade into my chest all over again. So even with the evidence laid black before her, she would still choose him. 300 years ago, Lucien staggered into Elena's palace covered in blood. His face was deathly pale, his breathing weak. The moment he stepped inside, he collapsed to his knees at her feet.
Elena, save me. It was my senior. He's come back. He's jealous that I took his place. So he snuck back into the divine realm and wounded me with the World Thorn. My divine core is about to shatter. I don't think I'm gonna survive.
His voice trembled, his eyes rimmed red. He looked so fragile, as though he might die at any moment. Elena lost her composure almost instantly. She knelt beside him and caught him before he could fall, her eyes blazing with barely restrained fury.
I won't let you die.
Then she turned and walked to the deepest part of the divine pool. There rested a primordial chaos seed. It had been formed from my original divine core. As long as that divine core remained, even if my body had been destroyed and my soul shattered, I would still have the slimmest chance to return to this world. But after hearing Lucien's tearful story, Elena didn't even bother to verify it. She personally began the refinement ritual. 81 days, trapped inside that divine core. I felt as though I had been thrown alive into a blazing fire. I watched everything with perfect clarity. She stood outside the formation and with her own hands refined my last hope into a vial of medicine, little by little, before feeding it to Lucien. Every single day I begged her through the flames to stop. Every single day she never looked back. Back then, I had given everything to shield her from the deadliest strike. I had also exhausted nearly all my magic to save Leia. In the end, she chose to sacrifice my life to save another man. At this moment, at the sight of the seal, Empress Elena of the High Court flew into a rage after hearing Elena's words. She slammed her scepter against the ground, and divine thunder roared across the sky.
Exactly. That traitor had already sided with the Abyss. This was all a trap he laid together with the Lord of the Abyss.
Certain that I was still hiding somewhere in the shadows, she shouted sternly.
Cassian! If you have even a shred of honor left, come out here and face your death.
The world fell silent. No one answered then, in the very next second.
Mom, let me do it!
A childish voice suddenly rang out. My broken soul shook violently. It was Leia, the child Elena and I had raised together. When we first found her, her mind had already been corrupted by abyssin energy. Everyone said she was beyond saving. Even Elena had urged me to give up. It was I who sacrificed nearly half my magic to forge a divine shell around her soul, pulling her back from the brink of death. But now, she raised her little hand toward my kneeling statue and hurled a blazing mass of soul fire straight at it.
Bad guy, you still dare frame Daddy Lucien? I'll burn you to ashes!
The flames instantly engulfed the statue. After my divine core had been destroyed 300 years ago, my shattered soul had been able to survive only by clinging to this stone statue. Now that the statue was burning, it felt as though my soul itself were being torn apart alive. Within the inferno, I screamed in agony.
Stop, Leia, stop. I'm your father. I'm the one who saved you. That man is the one who murdered me! How can you call him your father?
But she couldn't hear me. She simply ran back to Lucien with a smile, wrapped her arms around his leg, and looked up at him.
Don't be scared, Daddy. I burned the bad guy away. He'll never bully you again.
The stone statue cracked apart inch by inch in the flames before collapsing with a thunderous crash. My soul split open with it, jagged cracks spreading across my spirit, and the primal seal connected to that statue completely collapsed at that very moment. Watching it all unfold, the Lord of the Abyss suddenly burst into laughter.
So Cassian has been gone for a long time. All that's left is a bunch of self-important fools. So tell me, what do I have left to fear?
The Lord of the Abyss broke free of the seal. Black mist surged like a tidal wave, sweeping toward the gods gathered upon the divine altar.